So it's been 3 months. I figured it's time for an update. Can you believe that we already are a quarter of the year through 2025? It's kind of crazy. I don't know if this is part of getting older or what, but I feel like time is just flying by. But I'm excited today to share with you what I have done so far in 2025 to 10x my health. And so I figured, first of all, I'll remind you of the things that I'm focused on, at least for this quarter. They might change a little bit in Q2. I will talk about the different tools that I used. I'm then going to talk about some of the challenges that I faced. And then finally, I'm going to share with you the results and the changes I've already noticed after just 3 months of doing this. So I think the biggest thing that changed for me so far in this quarter was walking more. If you remember from my last video, I was sharing about how in 2024, I realized I was walking between 2,000 and 3,000 steps a day on the days where I really wasn't doing a long walk as my exercise. And so this year I started off the year with 7,000, and every month I have increased my goal by 250 steps. And so definitely initially that was a huge shift and kind of hard to do, kind of hard to fit into my day. I also intentionally chose not to have it be one long walk each day, but instead to have 2 or 3 smaller walks. And once I got used to it in January, February, and March were easier, even though I increased my step goal each month. And so I'm really excited to continue doing that. Another thing was continuing to work out regularly. And honestly, I was not as intentional with that goal, but I did track it. And so I did not do as good on that, but I think it balanced it out because I was walking so much. For sure, one of the things I did really well on, and I'm kind of proud of myself for, was cutting back on alcohol. So if you remember, I decided to apply the no 2 days in a row rule, which means that if I have alcohol on Monday, I'm not going to have it on Tuesday. And if I choose to have it on Wednesday, that's fine, but I know I can't have it on Thursday. It hasn't been cut alcohol out completely, but I have significantly reduced the amount of alcohol I'm drinking. And really, I'm not drinking it every other day. A lot of times I might have it once a week now, just because I'm kind of being more intentional about the days I choose to have alcohol. Another thing I've really been focused on is eating 30 different plant foods every single week. And so that's been really fun to track, but also really challenging. And to be totally honest with you, of the first 12 weeks of the year, I only managed to do this successfully 4 times, which I was shocked when I realized it was only 4 times. But that's definitely one of the lessons I've learned as well, is my tracking has not been ideal because I have not been reviewing at that level. And so if I had realized that just even on the first month, that it was only once in the first month, then I probably would have been more intentional the second month with making sure that I hit that goal. And then 2 things that I didn't share before, but I guess I kind of hinted at them before, but these are things that I tracked all of the last 3 months. One of them is gratitude journaling. So in the last video, I shared that stress management has been something I have been tracking and my stress levels, but definitely one of the things that brings my stress down is to track my gratitude. And so my goal is every morning to write down 3 things I'm grateful for that happened in the past 24 hours. And so I really was more consistent with that over the last 3 months. And because it's written down, it was easy to track and see. And I kind of applied the no 2 days missed in a row for this one. So kind of the reverse of the alcohol, where I didn't want to miss 2 days in a row, versus alcohol, I didn't want to have alcohol 2 days in a row. But I applied that to gratitude journaling. And I definitely think that has helped me a lot with my stress management. And then the last thing that I tracked over the last 3 months has been kind of fun. I feel like it's health related. I don't know, maybe it's vanity related, but I got a face brush for Christmas. And so I decided to start brushing my face every day. And to help it become a habit, I again decided to track it and apply the no 2 days in a row missed for the face brushing. And I don't know, I feel like my skin has changed. My skin looks good. And so I'm excited about that. I also have changed up my skincare a little bit in this quarter as well. So that could be contributing to it. But regardless, it just is a way to pause in the mornings, take care of myself, feel like I'm doing something good for my skin. And I've really enjoyed that. Okay, so let's talk about the tools that I use to track all of this. One of the things that I have used for a few years now is this right here. So this is the Full Focus Planner. Each one of these planners is 1 quarter long. It's technically 12 to 13 weeks. And I really love it because I also love the 12-week year, the book, The 12-Week Year. And so this works perfectly with it. But it also is amazing if you're tracking things. I'm not an affiliate, but I will put a link in the description in case you want to check these planners out, because I really am a fan of them. In the beginning of the planner, it does actually track your goals, and so you can write out all your goals, and then it breaks down the goals. So like right here is my 10x my health goal. I love goals, so I've got a long list of goals. This is just one of them, but this is the one I'm documenting. And I love that every quarter when I fill out my new planner, I'm answering some specific questions about the goal. So the first one is just my goal statement. And so I wrote, I 10x'd my health in 2025, and I documented the whole process on YouTube. So yay, we're doing that right now. Then you list out your key motivations, why you want to do this, and then next steps. So what you're going to do next to chase after that goal. You can write out what you're celebrating, so what you're going to do once you hit the goal. 10x is kind of abstract, so I don't really know how I would measure that I accomplished that, but maybe it's just celebrating, hey, I made it through the first quarter and I can already see the changes. So maybe this is my celebration. I don't know. I left that part blank. And then you also can track your progress, and it even has a little part at the bottom where you can like mark off every day. I don't use that part. Then this journal also has a weekly review. And you can see again, I'm not filling out all of it because I've been using this for a few years. I kind of have the parts that I really like. But I love here at the beginning of the weekly review, it asks for after action review. So looking over the last week, what's the 3 to 5 things that were considered big wins for the week? I love tracking that. Also, each week it has you pick 3 big things that you are working on accomplishing that week. And so those are in here. And it says what worked, what didn't work, and why, and what will you continue or change. And so I love filling out this part as well. It's just a really good way for me to go back and reflect on the past week and then plan for the week coming up. And then throughout it, it's got individual sections for each day. So I love this planner. This has helped me track a lot of my goals as I've been going through this, and that's one of the tools I've used. The next tool that I used is this habit tracker. I love colors. You can probably tell from looking at my home. I love colors. I love brightness. It makes me happy. And I kind of love this. And then also I feel like this has not worked very well for me. So I actually keep this hanging in my master bathroom. And my thought was every night before going to bed, I would just put a dot in each of the goals that I accomplished. But what happens is, and at some point I'll probably do a video on this, but in the nighttime, I try to keep all of the lights low because it helps me set my circadian rhythm and be able to sleep better. And so in my bathroom, I have just a low light in there, and it's hard for me to see the dots that I fill out. So then I thought, oh, I'll just do it the next day. And then I just continually forgot. And so because of that, there's a lot of things that are missed. And I think March is a perfect example. So if you look at this, then you can see that like there's a whole bunch of things I missed. I completely forgot to continue tracking my face brushing. In March, I also decided to start body brushing again. And I just totally fell off from the 20th of the month onward with tracking it, even though I know that I did it almost every single day during that time. In theory, this was a great idea. I think I'm going to change it up a little bit for Q2 and maybe use this after I track in another place and then go back and fill this in so that I still have a paper documentation of it, but then I'm going to create a digital way to document my goals and whether or not I'm meeting them. So I also use the Notes app on my phone, and I specifically use this to track my 30 plant foods every week. And so that was kind of fun. Just, again, a challenge to remember to track it and write it down as I introduce new fruits and vegetables. But it was really cool to have it on my phone too. So if I did go out to eat, which I generally do once, occasionally twice a week, a lot of times when we got to a restaurant, I would double check and see if there was anything on the menu that I hadn't already eaten in plants and vegetables that I wasn't going to go purchase for myself. And so then I would order foods that had those fruits and veggies in it. And so that was kind of fun and helpful. I for sure use my Oura Ring. I use the Oura Ring to track my sleep and to track my stress levels, but also it tracks my steps. I don't know that it's the most accurate tool for tracking steps, but it's the tool that I like the most. So in the past, I've had an Apple Watch and I've also had a Fitbit. And I didn't love either one of them, primarily because it really drove me crazy to get the notifications, and it was just more distraction than it was worth. I love that this isn't going to vibrate or distract me in my work. It just is on my phone, and so I get to choose when I open it up and look at it. And so that's what I've been using to track my steps every day. And honestly, I've been using the Oura Ring for 4 years. It's my favorite tracker of any tracker I've ever used. So it works for me. And then finally, as far as tracking my workouts, I do all of my workouts besides walking. I do all of my workouts using the Peloton app on my phone. So again, it gives me a check mark for every day that I work out. So that's what I've been referring to. If you've never used Peloton before, I'm a huge fan of the app itself. If you want to check it out, I actually have a link that will get you 60 days free. And so it's a great way to check it out and see if it's a workout app that would work for you. But I personally love it. I primarily use the strength training and yoga classes on there. Okay, so let's talk about some of the challenges that I ran into. First of all, weather. So I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, and for the most part, it's super hot, for a big chunk of the year, but we haven't gotten to that part of the year. But in January, we had major snow and ice. And so that was interesting, especially because I was really focused in January on getting those steps from the 2,000 to 3,000 a day all the way up to 7,000 a day. And I'm really proud of myself because I still went walking every single day that we had those ice and snow days. And so that was kind of cool. I bundled up, I went outside, I took the steps. I was proud of myself. Also, a huge challenge for me was getting sick. So I have not gotten sick in many years, but this year so far, I've already gotten sick twice. So I got the flu in the beginning of February, and then in April, I got a sinus infection. And both of those really just wiped me out and kind of knocked me off course. But again, like I mentioned in my very first video, it is so important for women to manage their stress and to listen to their bodies and to not push through it, things like that. That's one of the things that will knock our hormones out, is if we do try to push ourselves when our body is under stress, and getting sick is a form of stress. And so I really was cognizant of that and really gave myself grace, didn't apply the not missing something 2 days in a row rule during those times. And I think it did help me. It helped me recover faster, but also helped me from a stress and mental standpoint of knowing that I'm not supposed to be pushing myself at this point. I'm supposed to slow down. I'm supposed to rest. And that's okay. Let's talk about the results and the wins of this first quarter. I think number one, and this is probably the biggest one for me anyways, is just that I'm proud of myself for sticking with it. And I'm proud of myself for documenting it. I'm proud of myself for showing up on YouTube and sharing with all of you guys. And I hope this is motivating to you. But the second thing that I've noticed, and I think this is probably the external one that other people are going to care about, is that I actually have gone down a jean size, which is shocking to me because I literally have not lost any weight. I don't know if I'm the only one, but my body has been stuck at the same weight, like give or take 5 pounds for a few years now. But my body shape has definitely changed. I actually had to go out and buy new jeans. I've already bought 2 pairs of jeans because all of my jeans are to the point where I can pull them down without unzipping them or unbuttoning them, which is just kind of crazy that my body composition has changed this much in just 90 days. But it has, and so new jeans have arrived, which I'm excited about, to have jeans that actually fit again, but also so interesting. And this is why I always encourage clients, don't use the scale as any type of measurement. For women, it does us no good. It just causes frustration. And so using measurements like the way that you feel or the way that your clothes are fitting is going to be a much better indication of health. I'm excited about that. I think that definitely proves progress towards my 10X goal. I will provide another update soon as I shift and change a few things for the second quarter and let you know how it's going.